cue your behaviour only once. So it's a very, very common mistake. People repeat their cue over and over and over again. What this does is it means the cue loses all meaning to the dogs, and it makes it less likely for them to perform the behaviour when you want it to occur. So an example of this is when you see people going sit, 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 and it loses all meaning, and it becomes the point that the cue should be sit, not sit, 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 sit. So it's very important you practice with only one cue rather than saying it 10 times. Don't forget to use your marker words or your clicker if you have previously clicker associated your dog. This will help you out a million times with your training because it means your dog understands the exact behaviour that gets them the reward, and this will help you for trick training, and it will also help you for training out unwanted behaviours. For example, if you have a reactive dog, then you can mark that calm behaviour you want, and every time you mark a behaviour, that will encourage it to happen again. Consistency is really important as well. So the more consistent you are with your training, the more likely your dog is to succeed. So for example, each time you train, use the same consistent cues, use the consistent timing, and maybe do it in the same environment to begin with to practice. Just keeping these really consistent keeps your dog on the right track and stops them from getting confused at all. If you can, finish your training session on a good note. This means finishing the training session on a positive. So, for example, you might have done a new trick 5 times perfectly, brilliant. That's when you should end the training session. It keeps your dog keen, keeps them interested. If you practice until your dog is bored, you'll be bored as well, and it's not encouraging your dog to train in the future. It might not be possible to finish on a positive note. It might be that your dog's having an off day, it might be that you're having an off day, and so you might not be having a successful training session. In this case, you're probably better off just to end the session before you get frustrated and the dog gets more frustrated. So do keep your sessions short and to the point, and try and finish it on a positive note. Keep the training fun. So by using food rewards, toy rewards, you're keeping it really engaging and stimulating for your dog. If your dog isn't having fun, they're going to learn a lot less. So keep it positive, keep it fun, keep it energetic if you can, if the situation calls for it. So by making high-pitched noises or getting a bit energetic, you're getting some energy going, your dog is much more likely to want to engage with you and want to learn. Make sure you do find out what motivates your dog. This is going to be so important, because if your dog isn't motivated to learn and to work, then you're not going to get anywhere and you're going to have a much less successful training session. So do make sure you're using the right value of reward, and make sure they are being rewarded as well, because if you're not rewarding your dog consistently, they're going to lose interest very quickly. So for example, if you didn't get paid to go to work, you're going to be a lot less likely to go to work. So it is very important to make sure we are consistently rewarding our dogs. Especially if we're doing a new trick, for example, it might be that it's much more difficult for them, so we need to make sure we are constantly rewarding any achievements, or they're just going to lose interest. Having short training sessions is a lot better than having long ongoing training sessions. So this is particularly important for our young dogs that might have a shorter attention span. It's much better to do 5, 10, 15 minutes of good quality training than doing an hour, say, where you get bored, your dog gets bored. So it's really important to gauge the length of your training sessions to maximise your success. Treat bags are very useful tools. So what I have as a really common complaint is that the dog doesn't work unless the owner has the treat in the hand. Well, this isn't beneficial for a lot of different reasons. So you need your dog to be able to work without having to visually see that treat. So by training with having your treats in a treat pouch, you can train and you can mark the behaviour and then get the reward out, rather than constantly having the treat in your hand. This also frees up your hands as well. It's very beneficial to have both hands to either use pieces of equipment or you use hand signals. It's very helpful to have your hands free.